The Kick and Makeup MMA show is brought to you by Neon Energy Drink. Light it up.
Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Well, I'm going. Go on, then. Can I kick it?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Kick and Makeup show. I'm the American Hybrid Nick Cunningham. With me, as always, Jeremy JD Dorsey, and it is the new year. Happy New Year, my man. How have you been?
Man.
How have you been these 4 days into the year?
Oh man, good. It's been a great year. For 4 days in, it's
Pretty
been
good
awesome.
so far? Everything's all right?
Yeah, it's been good. I think 2016 is gonna hold some real big things for Kick and Makeup. So I'm ready to kick it off in a good way, and I guess you gotta reflect a little bit in order to kick something off, right?
I feel like our new year kind of kicked off like 2 months ago when we got to do our show here. We get to do our show here. We are live downtown Davenport, Iowa, at the Analog Arcade Bar, 302 Brady Street, Davenport, Iowa. If you have never been here, get here. Put our show on pause, come down, play a few video games. As you can see, they got everything: NBA Jam, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, pinball, hockey foosball.
Yeah, like hockey, table hockey.
Table hockey.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. I just thought like it's not. But anyway, get down here. Thank you everybody for letting us come down here and shoot. Also, this show is brought to you by Neon Energy Drink. Right here, glowenergy.neonenergyclub.com is the website to go check out. Stuff's delicious. It scarily tastes like juice. Like, I'm gonna say this in the nicest way. It tastes like juice, which makes it so scary.
Yep.
Because you could drink 4 or 5 of these, and then who knows from there? You get 4 or 5 energy drinks, Neon Energy Drinks, and the sky's the limit.
Yep.
Probably literally, because you might be flying. I don't know, but Neon Energy Drink is the sponsor. That's the website, and we'll give you a few more little tidbits about Neon Energy.
Kick and Makeup would like to introduce our audience to our newest sponsor, Neon Energy Drink. Neon Energy Drink has everything you need. It gives you energy that lasts with no crash. Has natural sugars from 24% fruit juice. Most others have no fruit juice. You know the others. I don't even have to name them. Do a little research and you'll see what I saw. Neon Energy Drink is blended for energy and antioxidant support by including 6 essential B vitamins, which account for over 100% of your daily value. Neon Energy Drink has 100 milligrams of caffeine from green tea extract, which is a natural form of caffeine, not something created in a science lab. It also supports a healthy metabolism by keeping energy levels higher for longer. Like I said, Neon Energy Drink has everything you need and also has nothing you don't. Each 8.4 ounce can has no taurine, no guarana, no dairy, no gluten, low sodium amounts, and only 100 calories. And guess what, folks? It glows, which just increases the cool factor. And FYI, it glows under black light because of the natural B vitamins, so it's definitely safe. Now, for more information on how to purchase or even promote the first ever top shelf energy drink, contact Courtney by going to glowenergy.neonenergyclub.com. Again, that's glowenergy.neonenergyclub.com. Neon Energy, light it up.
All right, so like I said, this is the Kick and Makeup show. We're going to get the particulars out of the way and explain to you guys that have never watched this how we do it. We've got our particulars first. www.kickandmakeup.com is the website. Go there, check our past shows, check everything we've done, pictures, things like that. Kick and Makeup Facebook page, which we got to get on that again, man.
Yeah, I know.
So we used to do it pretty well. So we kind of shifted gears here and there.
Yeah.
And you said it last show too, man. We need like a social media rep.
We do. We need like one person to take care of all our social media stuff. So if you feel like doing that for us, maybe we can throw you in the club a little bit.
Throw you in the club, give you a Neon Energy Drink,
right?
Maybe we get a nice little care package.
Right.
This paper clip. I don't need this paper clip anymore. Hold my notes. This paper clip. No. So anyway, Twitter. We're on Twitter, obviously at Kick and Makeup. At Hybrid MMA is mine. Instagram, our YouTube channel, Kick and Makeup. So no reason why you shouldn't be following us.
Periscope, Snapchat coming soon.
They're coming soon, man.
Especially once we get going on these trips, man. We're gonna be periscoping a lot, so that'll be fun.
I can't wait for that. Yeah, we've got some stuff on the line too. We're not gonna say much yet, but we got some big stuff. We do our show in 3 segments: the high kick, which is the best that's happened in MMA; the low kick, which is the worst that's happened in the week; and then that's some bull kick, where it's something goofy happened and we just kind of talk shit and rant and rave about something that's just weird and, talk of the town. And for this show, this is our year-end show, beginning of the year preview show. So what we did was we went back in the archives and notes and scoured and figured out what was the highest kick of the year, the best thing that happened this year, what was the lowest thing that happened this year, and what was the bull kick of the year. And we kind of give our unofficial awards. Yeah. And I know you got some good ones, man.
I do. And just so everybody knows, we don't go over these ahead of time. We just sort of come up with them and see, how similar they are, how different they are. I got a feeling we're going to be kind of different this year, so
I think
that'll be cool.
Well, and also to go along with that, before we even start, this weekend was a big weekend for fights, and it kind of went under the radar because it came after UFC 194, which was everybody's big Conor McGregor thing, and they kind of forgot, that 2 weeks later, Carlos Condit and Robbie Lawler fight each other for the welterweight belt. And I think already that is candidate for fight of the year. And it
definitely
happened 3 days into the, or 2 days, into the year. Awesome fight. I had Condit winning it. Did you have Condit?
No. I had Robbie winning it. Once I went back and watched it a second time, though, I definitely felt like Condit had the win. There's some interesting things going on with scoring, and I just so happened to read Joe Rogan. I think it was yesterday. Went on sort of a Twitter rant about how MMA is going to need either more judges, or you're going to need to revamp their scoring system because we're kind of operating on the boxing scoring system, and it's kind of hard to judge a fight as to who wins when you just go round by round. Somebody might come in and totally destroy somebody, but you don't see a whole lot of 10-8s.
Right.
You don't see a whole lot of 10-7s, when in all actuality there should be a whole lot more of those, because sometimes you get around where somebody goes in and completely destroys the opponent, and they should get credit for that.
Right.
And those totals should add up, as opposed to it just being the sort of 10-9 thing that most of the time you see in boxing.
Even going into this fight too, the odds were dead even. Everybody going in was like, this is going to be an awesome fight. I have no idea who's going to win. It could go either way. It could be a Lawler knockout in round 1, or it could be drug into the deep waters, which it was. The first round was kind of a wash for me. It was back and forth. There wasn't anybody decisively winning that. I did give, in saying that, I gave it to Condit for some reason, because I felt like he landed more. Well, he did land more fluid. He looked better in the first round. I ended up giving Lawler rounds 2 and 5, and I think that because he was the champion and because he poured it on so hard in the 5th, that is what got him the win. So it wasn't an unfair, throw your hands up and storm out of the room.
Right.
But I knew that if Condit wasn't going to decisively beat the champ, the cliche thing is you got to beat the champ to beat the champ. And if you're just going to tatter and wear out the champ, that's not going to get you the belt. And I think that's what happened. I hope they have a rematch. Condit's talked a little bit about maybe his last fight. That would suck because he is one of my favorite fighters. But man, I would love to see a rematch of that at UFC 200.
Yeah, I would too. And I sort of has been our issue is we're wondering about all these. I guess it's a great problem to have, but we've been wondering about all these rematches and when they're going to happen. And you sort of have everything kind of being put on hold until UFC 200. So I know we keep talking about it a lot. See that wink? We keep talking about it a lot, but be really nice to go see an incredible card like that. Something in my eye. Sorry.
There's something. I'm also scratching my nose a bunch. I feel like I have one sweat bead right here. That's just going like this. So that's tingling. Weird. keep scratching it. Sorry, everybody, I was scratching my nose. So, also this weekend too, just want to make mention that Fedor came back.
Yeah.
Fedor returned.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people knew about this. I think they knew that he was coming back because Bellator had hinted it a couple months ago, brought Fedor out. But it was the Ryzen World Grand Prix Championships in Japan. It was on 9 a.m. on Spike on New Year's Eve. But it had Sakuraba on it, had Shinya Aoki, it had Fedor. It was fun to watch. It reminded me of Pride. First round was 10 minutes. Second, third round, 5 minutes. Head kicks and knees to the ground opponent are legal. Like, it felt like, and I obviously skimmed through some of it too, but I feel like I watched the majority of it, and it was fun to watch that type of event again.
It is.
Fedor came out and dominated, which is, something that I was gonna maybe talk about later. Is he going to the UFC? Is he gonna stay in Bellator? Bellator and this Ryzen Fight League kind of work together. They had Bellator commentators, so I still want to see Fedor in the UFC, and just once, and as a heavyweight, and see what he would do. But it was fun, man. It kind of went under the radar. Fedor came back, and nobody really knew about it.
And it just shows you how much everybody in MMA is sort of UFC centric at the moment, and I'm just gonna stop talking there because we're gonna get into that a little bit later.
We are. We ready? We ready to do this, man?
Yep.
We ready to do this, man. High kick of the year for me. It goes to Conor McGregor. Are we in agreement on that? Let's just both say ours, and then we'll both kind of talk.
My high kick of the year is it doesn't go to a person. It goes to Parity in the UFC.
Whoa, all right.
So I'm gonna have to explain that, but you go ahead and do yours first.
And I was trying to think of that too. Do we give it to something or someone? And I had to give it to Conor McGregor. He only fought 3 times this year, but all the fights were the most talked about events in sports, I feel like. Maybe aside from the Dennis Seaver fight, but the Chad Mendes and Aldo fight, that's all anybody was talking about. He's the biggest name in the sport. He's a marketing dream. He's, like I have it in my notes, commands attention like no one else we've seen. He's got the UFC eating out of the palm of his hand. He's calling the shots. There's some talks of McGregor and Dos Anjos in March in Dallas, maybe. So they're talking about this is a guy that's gonna go to a different weight class, maybe get the belt. I couldn't give it to anybody else but him. I just didn't feel like that. I felt like he was so big this year that he was the biggest thing in MMA this year. Yeah,
no, I totally I can rock with that. Yeah. Just seeing his rise, he's made more of a fan out of me because initially I didn't want to believe the hype, but you're sort of forced to believe it after seeing what he's done, and I've started to realize with him and other fighters too, but more so with him that it's more of a promotional and sort of show act behind him.
Yeah.
Because he's not exactly that dude. He's not that guy that you see with all the flamboyant shit and just everywhere talking ridiculous amounts of trash. But you sort of see, and I learned after the fight was over against Aldo, and you just saw him talking, and he was more so way more respectful than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
And way more humble than I thought he was going to be too. And it was one of those situations where I felt like he truly embraced the moment and was happy with the moment. And that's something that you don't really see all the time. And I'm real happy with what I saw out of him. And his arrow is definitely pointed up. I don't really like him trying to jump up to another weight class, and I know the UFC doesn't like that either. That's going to be interesting to see how that goes, because to some degree, you're going to want to keep your fighter happy if he's the biggest name in the sport.
And I don't know if they're going to keep him on the shelf as much money as he brings in until the summer too. March in the Dallas, the stadium, the biggest stadium. That's a big card. That's a big money draw, and I feel like that fight may happen. So, yeah, what do you got,
But
man?
what do you do if he loses? It just tarnishes.
That would be the only reason why they wouldn't and just keep him. But, man,
And he's not fighting a chump. It's not like he's fighting...
This dude's coming,
he's fighting the best in the division.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's tough to do.
It's tough, and just talking about it more, they probably won't do it. I guess I just went immediately from they probably will do it to they probably won't. Because it's too big of a gamble. The risk reward is too much. It's too wide. Like, the risk is he completely, like you said, tarnishes his name. The reward is he wins again. He's still, he gets a little bigger, but he's already ginormous. So the risk is higher. So
and in one swoop, you end up diminishing that division as well if he ends up getting that win, because they're going to say, oh, these guys are chumps. If this guy can jump up and wait and take that title too, I don't think it's really worth it. But it'd be fun to see. Like, if it was in a vacuum and we didn't have sort of UFC 200 just looming over everything, I think you could take a risk like that. But with it sitting there, so big off in the distance, you kind of want to save all your bullets for that.
Yes. You do. I couldn't say it anymore. I'm just thinking about yours next. That's what I was doing right there when I said yes. I just want to talk about yours.
Okay.
Why don't you explain yours?
I'm going to have to read it because I was writing a lot today. I got into a mode. Felt like, I know that's probably how you feel when you start writing articles and stuff, but just parity in UFC, I should say, specifically. I won't just say MMA because that sort of encompasses everything, but you have people like Holm, Jacek, McGregor, Dos Anjos, Rocco, Cormier, Verdun, all unified, or I should say all new champs, or unified a belt in the case of Verdun, in 2015. And I think that's a huge story, that there was sort of a changing of the guard coming into the year as opposed to the end. You have people like Pettis and Weidman who were, huge favorites in their fights and end up losing. And it just shows you that these divisions are tougher, deeper than probably people want to expect. And, you might say that they're top heavy, but that's more than you could say a year ago at this point in time. So, and I think that the point where we're at now is that going into almost every championship fight, you have no idea who's going to win.
No.
And I mean, like, there's you can make arguments for each person. And I think that there were certain times before where you just count people out, especially with Rousey. You just counted everybody out who she was going to take on. And until you had Holly Holm come in and completely destroy her. So now that last sort of, ace of spade that was right there is gone now. And you really can have anybody win on any night, and that's as beneficial for the UFC as possible, because they can go anywhere with any matchup and feel comfortable with it.
People aren't fearing the champions anymore either. That was a big thing, a few years ago, where the guys that were fighting GSP and the guys that were fighting Anderson Silva and Brock Lesnar, these big champions, they were lost. They lost even before they got into the cage. They lost the pre-fight because they had already counted themselves out. And now you've got these new fighters that are improving faster than I've seen in a long time.
Yes.
I mean, Rafael Dos Anjos 2-3 years ago was nothing. I mean, he was a fighter and good, but nobody was talking about him as a champion. And he's improved so much over the last year that, and that's the thing though, he didn't fear Pettis going into it. And that's a big thing that we're seeing now. These new fighters like Holly Holm, like you said, she said before, I'm supposed to be in there. That quote literally was the best quote I heard all year. Like, Ronda Rousey's in there, but I'm in there with her too. I earned my way in there. I'm just as good as she is. Like, I'm not in there for no reason. So if I believe that, then I have a chance to win, and she won. And that was one of the biggest lines for me. I was like, yes.
And sort of echoing your point. The time of the the GSPs and Chuck Liddells and Jones and Silva, the multiple year reigns, like, that's over. Like, I don't know if you could tell me anybody right now who you would feel comfortable enough to bet on that they would have a 2-year reign.
I don't.
Nobody. Nobody.
Well, for me, Holly Holm may hold on to it for a little while, only because her division is so small. And that's not her fault. I mean, and it doesn't say she's only holding on to it because she has no opposition. But, the type of fighter she is, it's going to be very hard to mimic that style to that level. I mean, she's a championship kickboxer. She's a champion boxer. I mean, she's got, these high pedigrees underneath her. It's going to be tough to beat that. But obviously somebody can go in there and clobber her one time and drop her, which we've seen. So, but I would say maybe, I feel like she will hold on to the belt at least this year. I don't see anybody else coming in. Other than that, though, it's round robin. Like it's you really don't know. So yeah, I agree with that. I like that, the parity of the UFC.
Yeah,
that is big, man. Changing of the guard and sports evolving too. I think this time last year we were kind of nervous. Like we were like, is this the UFC? I mean, I think we even talked about, is MMA even going to be around in 5 years?
We talked about on our show this time last year that exact statement.
Are people going to care about MMA because it's kind of like peaked? That's what we said. It peaked. And then all of a sudden this year, these new people came out. These people stepped it up. Belts changed, like you said, and we're interested again. Yeah. And we're excited again. So that's 1 year span.
Yep. And it's one of those years where you had a lot of controversy, but the UFC was able to overcome all of that controversy. Like, you forget about all the drama that you went through with John Jones this year. You almost forget that Silva got suspended. Like, you forget all the big, huge, mega stories that were on the negative end because you had so much positivity. So, that's about as much of a compliment as you can pay to an organization that they can overcome all their bad publicity. I'm gonna leave it at that.
I'll leave it at that. All right. So switching gears, low kick of the year for me was a no-brainer, and I guess these are kind of just cliche. And I feel like I wrote them. I'm like, I try to not be obvious, but these are what I feel like really were the low kick and high kicks of the year, the best and worst. The low kick for me was the downfall of Ronda Rousey. That was just the biggest story this year. Again, aside from Conor McGregor, it was Ronda, Conor. So Ronda Rousey's lost to Holly Holm after that, and it's almost what happened. My nose. I'm gonna rip my nose out and throw it like right here. It's like I'm just itching. I don't know what is going on. All right. So anyway, it was what happened after the fight. So Ronda Rousey lost. She went into hiding almost.
Yes.
There is an article I read about her sister that came out that said, I feel like a part of my sister died that night. Really? I mean, I get it, but like it's a little extreme for me. Just gonna have a rematch in July. I put here, will we forget about her in the next 6 months? I think so. I think we're already like whatever. She wasn't a very likable person anyway. Just from what she put out, I'm sure she's very nice, but what she put out, she turned a lot of people off. So nobody's really too concerned about what's going on with her now. I even added this, like her movie career, it's not great either. I mean, she's in movies, but she's in Entourage, Fast and Furious 7, The Expendables, and the upcoming remake of Roadhouse. I don't think that's gonna break the bank.
No.
Or be a multi-billion-dollar movie. So really, for me, her movie career is not that impressive either. That's low kick. Like she went from the soaring highest star, and that star fell, and that I don't think it's gonna get back up. So for me, that was the biggest low kick of the year.
Definitely a big one. And almost the meteoric rise that she had started at the end of 2014 and was cemented in 2015, and then just as big as she was, that fall that she took was, I mean, even more large probably than her rise. And the only thing that I can say is something that as a fan and that she can probably hold on to is that the only thing better than seeing a star fall is seeing a star rise again. And if she's able to come out and face the demon that is Holly Holm and finally vanquish and destroy her, I mean, shit. What else can you say at that point? Like,
they're going to. So,
yeah,
I mean,
she's gonna have the chance.
If she beats her and clobs her to near death, and they make a third one, then you're talking about her being the biggest story again.
Yep.
Like she comes back after getting beat, and then just goes on a tear again. Like then it's just like then we're interested again.
Yep.
And then everybody loves those stories.
Yep.
Better.
Yep. And I mean, but I definitely would. That was sort of one of the things that I was battling back and forth with as I was, trying to decide what my low kick of the year was. But I sort of went with more of a general one too.
That's good. I'm just targeting people.
No, I think that's good though. I think that's good
for individuals.
Yeah. So it's okay. Can I share that?
Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah. Mine is the low kick of 2015 for me is the lack of competition for the UFC. I really think that Bellator World Series of Fighting missed out on an opportunity in 2015, where there was that uncertainty going into coming into 2015. Those two companies could have took advantage of that, and I don't think they were able to at all.
That's funny. It's funny because that was my like honorable mention of either a BullKick or a low kick. It was like Bellator. Like, what you had it, you had your chance. And we thought you might do it, and then you went this way.
And I mean, like, it's something that we've talked about many times, and you just feel like there were opportunities for them to not be a sideshow, and we got probably the biggest sideshow card coming up in a few weeks at this point, but. It's ridiculous to think of what they could have been, and I think that they really had an opportunity to go after younger talent, or even now, like we can propose a business model for them now. You know, attack the younger talent. The Reebok deal for UFC has sort of crippled them as far as younger fighters coming in, because most younger fighters aren't going to want to be involved in that pay scale from the very beginning. Like, you're not going to make any money, any money. So. You have that opportunity now to be a viable number two, develop that young talent. Yeah, you're probably gonna lose, 70 to 80% of that young talent that you develop. But if you come in and you can be exciting and be a brand for those younger and up and coming fighters, you can do that. Also, you have you have fighters right now who are gonna be free agents, like Ben Henderson, like Alistair Overeem, where you can make a splash. You can make a splash and come out the box and blow these guys away, blow the UFC out the water with their offers. And then you have two guys that you can center two divisions around, two marketable guys that you can sell and build your brand off of, along with all the young talent that you can have being influxed into your company. So
they need to figure out what they want to be, because I loved how they did the Glory and Bellator night, where it was two events in one. I love this last weekend, Ryzen fighting with Japan. They're like co-promoters. So that's what you're going to do. Do that, too.
Do it,
But then don't do that and then come back 2 months later with Kimbo Slice and Dada by 1,000, because then you're a circus act. But then try to go serious again in April and May, and nobody knows what you are. Like, and we watch them all. I will continue to watch them all. But they're like this weird entity. Like, they're just kind of trying to do it all. They're just trying. I mean, they'll make any fight. They'll sign any fight. They'll pull somebody out of 10 years retirement. One fight. It's like you gotta be careful with people that watch that, because if that's what they said last time, that's what you're basing MMA off of, and it's the only fight you see all year. You're gonna have a very weird outlook and notion of what MMA is. So I like that, man.
And you kind of feel like they're torn right now, and I feel like the Kimbo Slice Dada, that whole card and event is a money grab. If they use, I will let that be a money grab. If you go from here on out after that point and decide that this is going to be our business model, like you said, what they did this past weekend was great. It's something different. It gives you an alternative, and even though you have somebody who is a sort of a more synonymous with the UFC, you're doing something different. You're giving somebody a push who wasn't really getting one in the UFC. So you're doing something, and you're filling a niche that is there and available for people who want to consume MMA. And I really think that either of those companies can really take that route and run with it if they decide to do that. So it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do for the rest of 2016.
It's going to be a big year for UFC. It's going to be a big year. I'm going to talk about it later, but even Invicta too. It's going to be a big year for them. And Bellator can be right there. They just need to figure it out this year. So keep our eye open for that. Nice. I like that. Man. That's some good stuff. So let's do our favorite. Maybe that's what it is. Little flies landing on my nose.
Like hair on here, and it's been bugging me.
You ever seen Dazed and Confused?
Yes.
You know, with the kid always in the movie, like he grabs his nose? That's what I feel like right now. Like the main character is just like, it was nonstop. This is weird. All right. BullKick of the year for me. It goes all the way back to January of 2015. It was the aftermath of UFC 183, which was Anderson Silva versus Nick Diaz. So let's go back to that fight. Fun fight anyway, if you all remember. Anderson Silva ended up winning, but Nick Diaz laid on the ground with his arm behind his head. I mean, it was a fun fight. I liked it. But so the BullKick for me was Nick Diaz's 5-year suspension that was laid down by the Nevada State Athletic Commission for testing positive for marijuana. So that's ridiculous right there. It was more ridiculous because Silva tested dirty two times for that fight for PEDs and got a year. So Nick Diaz got 5 years. Silva got 1 year.
5 years.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous, but go ahead.
Diaz filed an official petition to the White House, which was hilarious. He got his 100,000 signatures. Their response was the federal government plays no role in the disciplinary acts taken by state athletic commissions, so we are not in a position to address the specific request raised in your petition. The Nevada Athletic Commission and the legal team are currently in settlements now and talking about maybe lifting some of that 5-year. Jesus Christ, I hope so, because that for me that was such BullKick, man. That they gave him. I mean, that was like the stiffest, harshest fine, and this was like coming off of the TRT and PED year when none of those fighters got anywhere near that. But you give Nick Diaz 5 years for marijuana. Yep. I didn't think of anything more that when that came out, I was like, oh Jesus, man, like that's kind of BullKicky, man.
Even the ridiculousness of in talking about that, and ours are a little similar, but just thinking about Peter Belfort and the lack of discipline on his behalf after he had some shady tests done, and you just decide to drop the sledgehammer on Nick Diaz for why? And I mean, like,
because they don't like it. I mean, I don't think they understand that the Diaz brothers do like a lot for the sport with bringing in some of the older fans too, like the originals, their fight style. I mean, even Nate Diaz's last fight, that fight was phenomenal.
Yeah, great fight.
And they smoke weed too. Who cares?
Yep.
Like that. It's just one of those things. Like that was, I don't know. It was crazy for me. They just wanted to make an example out of Nick Diaz because he's not fighting for championship. He's not really pro UFC. He's not anti UFC, but he's not going out there, on milk posters.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know why I said milk posters. What was I thinking of? Oh,
milk cart.
No, I was thinking of a poster I saw, like a football player for like the football 40 or something where like milk's the ad. I don't know, milk mustache, got milk ad. You're not seeing Nick Diaz in any of these type of things. So he was an easy guy to throw the book at.
Yeah, I guess so. And I mean, but just leaves such a bad taste in your mouth, and when you don't see the consistency.
Yeah. So we'll see this year what happens. But that for me, it was too much, man. I couldn't think of any other story this year that was so outrageous than that one. What you got over there?
So, I'm just gonna go through some things real quick.
All right.
The UFC and Reebok deal sucks for everybody, pretty much, except for UFC and for Reebok. Sucks as far as the fighters are concerned.
Right.
It's horrible.
Except for those two.
John Jones has a drug habit.
He does.
It's out there. Drug habit. Fled the scene of an accident with a pregnant woman after she broke her arm. Bad dude, right?
Yeah.
Probably a bad dude.
Yeah, not the greatest.
Went to rehab for 24 hours and was cured. Probably a bad dude.
I forgot that he only went for 1 day till right now.
Probably a bad dude.
Yeah.
Some fighters out there are probably still doping. I'm sure they are.
Man.
I'm sure they are. That's horrible. And I mean, I guess it's not horrible. It's just not fair. The UFC has a considerable number of fighters who have been accused of domestic abuse.
Yeah.
That's kind of a bad thing.
It's not great.
No,
not great.
Not good.
Right. Probably the worst sport you want to have.
Right. Of all sports.
Of all sports, that one's the worst one, I guess. I mean, because you're enabling them by having them continue to fight as fighters in their professional career. All right. Yep.
Right. Stitch Duran got fired for speaking out against the company.
Dude, you're doing this is good. I didn't know I should have done this too. This is nice. All right.
Kind of shady. That's kind of messed up. Like it, and it's kind of. I understand you don't want to bash your company, but man, truth is the truth, and you got to give people their freedom of speech. And it wasn't like he was saying something where the overwhelming majority of the rest of the public didn't agree with him.
But he made it into Creed, so that was sweet.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
So good for him bouncing back.
Yeah. Nick Diaz and his suspension, 5 years, ridiculous, right? The 2015 BullKick of the Year goes to none other than me, because I'm still a fan of this sport, regardless of all the shit that I just listed.
Yep, me
So,
too, man.
I think
you wanna
I
share?
deserve.
I'll share it with you.
Okay,
Let's share it.
Cold Bull Kicks of the Year
Right here.
belong to us, because I'm just as big of a fan of this ridiculous sport and some of the stuff that happens in it as I have ever been. So, if that doesn't deserve a Bull Kick, I can't figure out what else does. And I mean, it's just, I think it's what happens when a sport becomes bigger. You bring more people in, you have more things involved, and along with the good things, you're gonna have the bad things that come up. So I hear all these things, and these are things that can probably turn a lot of people off, but I'm just as big of a fan as I have ever been of the sport, of the UFC specifically. So I think that's kind of bullkicky on my behalf to talk so much and know so many bad things that happen, but still love it.
Once again, though, for me, a few bad things don't make for a bad person. I mean, for me, I was thinking like somebody that had 4 or 5 character flaws.
Right.
Big character flaws. It's still, at the end of the day, that doesn't mean that they're a terrible person. It means they made a bunch of stupid mistakes, and they made some very bad, poor decisions, some of which, have some terrible outcomes. But still, they keep rolling on. And that's like what I say for me. Like, and even when we talked about switching gears, watched Concussion this last weekend, and my ass was still in front of the TV yesterday at noon, screaming and yelling for the Detroit Lions. And so it did nothing. It did nothing. And I even said on the way home, like, maybe if you know somebody and it directly affects you.
Right.
Like if Stitch Duran was like, if we were brothers and Stitch Duran was our dad or uncle,
right,
and he got fired, I feel like we would not support the UFC as much, maybe. I feel like I still would watch fights and be like, hey, Dad, sorry. But it would make a bigger difference, and I think that's what it is. Like, all these things are big things. They didn't directly have anything to do with us. So we're still there as fans. And, all the fans that still watch, like, they weren't happy with some of that stuff. They weren't happy with fleeing the scene. I was the biggest, like, he's a terrible person, but who's going to be there in a couple of months watching his pay-per-view fight and potentially paying, going somewhere, paying for it, like watching at a bar, like me, like, despite, and maybe, if that woman would have passed away and he still got out and was fighting and getting it 4 or 5 months, I'm still gonna watch. If he got off of like a murder case, I'm still gonna watch it. Which what does that say? I just took it dark, but I mean, it's like, it doesn't.
It's the same. It's the same thing that a lot of people say about the NFL, and it's crazy the similarities in the brutality of the sports. There's a lot of people who believe that the reason that we like that is, we're a violent culture. We've been trained to not be violent, and the majority of people aren't violent, but we still have that caveman built into us.
That's exactly what I said after watching Concussion.
So we have to get that fixed. So instead of acting on it, we watch it.
Yep.
We watch the brutality. We want to see the blood. We talk about Lawler and McDonald and how bloody that fight was, because morbidly we like to see blood. We want to see that. We want to see these guys, go in there and halfway kill themselves for our entertainment. Yeah. It's the gladiator. It's the same thing as the gladiators back in the day. So.
The primal. That's your internal primal. That's embedded in. For me, I feel like it is embedded in the DNA.
Yep.
And there's nothing you can do about that. You cannot do a thing. It's not going anywhere. And some people fight, or they play sports, or they watch it, but there's somewhere or another, like you just said, you're gonna get your fix.
Yep.
So that's what it is. But I mean, it's just I think that, like you even said before, they did a lot of cleanup this year. All that happened, but yet they still ended the year off on the positive note with the biggest card, with the outcome they wanted. Kicked the year off with, I'm going to say again, like, fight of the year. I don't know who else is going to have a better fight than those two guys and do it for 25 minutes and have it go back and forth and have it not know and split. Like,
Yep.
it's gonna be top 3 at least by the end of the year.
And while you're saying that, can I just to go back to that real quick? I thought, like, if I was a photographer, like that shot.
Oh, and
there
then like this?
Yes.
That's what I said, man.
On the end, I'm like, that is an incredible shot right
I
there.
said the same thing while watching it, when they both at the end on the same side,
Right.
side by side, just put their arms up. I'm
like somebody has to have a picture of that.
I said I'm gonna look on Getty Images and I will buy that.
That's amazing.
I
Yep.
will buy that picture, like, because that is worth it. I will frame, like, put that up.
Yep, 100%.
And that says and it makes it even scarier because they're like at the end they're humble, good job. Hey man, like they don't hate each other, which makes it even scarier. Like you guys just beat the shit out of each other for 25 minutes, and then just were like, oh man, dazzle, big fight. All right, man, see ya. What? Like there's no animosity going into it.
Nope.
They were on a couple of shows together. Like the fighter and the kid that I listened to had them both on the same show, just sitting talking. Yeah, you know, we're gonna fight each other. Like I'm like, this is scary shit. Like,
And then to turn it on and be brutal like that towards each other.
yeah. We love it. We love it. We're gonna continue to love it.
Yep.
This is a nice segue. Still, 40 minutes later, right here. Like, I don't know what is going on. Maybe there's like a hair that came out that like curled over.
Yeah.
Oh my god, man. All right. So, what to look out for in 2016?
Us.
Kick and make up. Look
Everywhere.
yes.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. So I said, and just talking about it, the return of John Jones. That is for me gonna be, I think, the biggest story.
Yep.
When it comes to fruition in April, and in researching, I knew a little bit about it. Obviously, the UFC's been trying to have a fight at the Madison Square Garden in New York. John Jones is from New York. They already booked a date in April for John Jones' return in New York to get his belt back. They just have to legal sanction MMA in New York. So they always do this every year. They go to court. They try to do this. Somebody said, in a perfect world, New York gets approved, and he comes back on April 23rd to get his belt. That would be the biggest story of the year. I mean, John Jones' return.
Yep.
He's gonna be bigger, stronger, clean. It's gonna be scary, man. It was just, we talked about it before though. Him fighting before was scary. Now he's 30 pounds heavier with muscle and just focused, and that is a scary John Jones.
Yep.
I'm excited for that.
And you would have to think that he's supremely motivated at this point. So yeah, that's terrifying for anybody in that division. I can't say anymore. And I mean, let alone the whole aspect of the UFC finally making it to New York City and MSG. That's such a shrine for events, and to finally get it there would be incredible. And they haven't
him
there
yet,
too.
and we'll see. I believe probably, I think every year, or it's always around February, end of January, February, you start reading, UFC going to court. There's always a few people that have put their wall up and don't want it there, and it's just like, I don't know anymore why you're not sanctioning it. Like,
right.
you're pretty much the only state, I think maybe there's a few other ones that don't sanction it, but I mean, it's just, I don't get it. I don't get why. Just have it there. I mean, you're gonna, by doing that, it's bringing in revenue. You have boxing there. I mean,
right. Yeah, I don't quite understand that either. I feel a little bit more confident this go around with it though, because like you sent me the official UFC schedule has New York City on there, so I would have to assume they got some fillers before they decided to post that and get it out there like that. So I hope it actually happens.
Yeah. So that was what I'm most looking forward to. I also had on here Ronda Rousey's return in July. I'm very curious about that, to see if she loses, she's done for me. I think that's not much you can do.
Probably done for her,
yeah. I mean, So I also put more Bellator Superfights. We were talking about that earlier. What are they going to do this year? I'm very curious to see if they just whatever. I'll watch whatever they do. I mean, but I hope they can go in a different direction and really, make themselves, something that you yearn to see.
Right.
I'll watch it because it's on, but I want to watch it. Like, I want you to make me want to watch it by your matchmaking and by things like that.
Right.
So and then also I just threw in here Cyborg coming to the UFC.
Yep.
I mean, she fights in a couple weeks in Invicta FC on Fight Pass.
Yep.
I think January 17th or 18th. main event. But she kind of just went to the wayside for UFC purposes when Home won. You know, nobody was talking about Miesha Tate or Cyborg. There was kind of like this round robin. If Ronda Rousey would have won, is her next fight Tate part 3? Is it Cyborg? But then Home won, and Cyborg's just. I wanted to be in the UFC still, but right now though, the Rousey Cyborg isn't as appealing anymore.
No, it isn't, and
so
I just happened to see a picture. I don't know what they're doing, but her and Miesha Tate, Cyborg and Miesha Tate were. I don't know if they were filming a TV show, a movie,
a movie. It's like a Netflixy type movie, like a B movie, a fight girl type.
Did you see the photograph from the set of them sort of standing face to face?
Is it when they're outside?
Yep.
Yeah, I have. I don't remember. I mean, I saw it.
Cyborg is gigantic compared to Miesha Tate. I mean, like, towering over her. There's another picture I saw of Cyborg standing on a scale, and it said 175.
So then you're just...
175 to 135 is a long way down.
Yeah, it's not happening. I mean, that's
a long way down.
It won't happen then, and I can imagine if she was thinking about it and then Home won, she had to have known, like, this fight's not happening for quite a while. If it ever happens, I'm not going to break my back to diet, to try to stay around 55, to cut to 35, and so then she probably just started getting jacked and lifting and eating.
Yeah,
eggs.
She's huge. She's huge. I mean, that's, I don't know if the UFC would even find it monetarily feasible to decide to, make a division sort of around her with bigger women. I guess that's sort of a route that you could take, but
I will say, watching this weekend's Rising, there were the women's fight.
Mm-hmm.
They were ginormous.
Yes.
Like, they were jacked and ripped, and I mean, they look like bodybuilders.
Yeah.
So they were probably, I can't remember, but around 170, 185.
Right.
Huge.
Yep.
So they're out there if they want to do that, and that might not be a bad idea actually to have another women's division and bring in some of the bigger girls and have them. But Cyborg, obviously, I mean, I don't feel like there's anybody going to beat her in that. So
I think if you're gonna go bigger, I think you can go to maybe 155, a 155 division somewhere in there. I think that's probably about as big as you want to go, because I really think that the UFC is very aware that they don't want big, gigantic looking, scary women. I don't think
it's not very marketable.
Right, exactly. And I think they want women who are still going to be feminine, and I think they feel like that 135 is a good weight, because you can't really get too jacked. But I think you could go up a little bit and still be able to preserve some of that femininity.
55 might be where it's at.
Yeah.
Definitely, if you're weighing in at 70, 75, you could definitely get to 55 easily.
Yep.
And that's, maybe what she needs to do.
Right.
So,
right.
Lots to look out for, man.
Yep. And I forgot to say, I don't think, I know we talked about it earlier, but Silva coming back.
Yeah,
it's
let's
huge,
talk about
huge
that.
comeback.
He's coming back. We talked about that, I think, last show too. February, the UFC Fight Pass versus Michael Bisping. So if he wins, he's gonna. I feel like the next fight, does he fight Rockhold, or does he have to fight Weidman to get to Rockhold? And the winner of that gets Rockhold, and then it's like a Silva Weidman 3.
Yeah.
Contender
That's
fight.
it.
That sounds.
That's it.
And talking like that, that's exactly what's gonna happen.
That's it.
If he beats Bisping, it's gonna be Weidman, Silva 3. Winner gets a rematch with Rockhold
At
UFC 200.
Yep.
Can it just be UFC 200 right now?
It's like Christmas.
My God, man. That's what they're gonna do for UFC 200. It's gonna be like everybody.
It's gonna be like 8 ridiculous main event fights.
It is, man. Like the Fox Sports 1 prelims are gonna be ridiculous. The 5 main fights are gonna be ridiculous. The UFC Fight Pass cards are probably gonna be great too. I mean, they're. Oh my God, dude, we gotta continue to talk.
Yes.
And figure this out, man. We gotta chit chat some more, man. That makes me excited. That's how much is going on in the sport right now.
Yeah.
It is January 4th, and we are talking about some big fights later this year. And I mean, we're already into July and August. And
Right.
It's January.
Yep.
There's so much going on. So that you guys please let us know in the comments below. Did you agree with these high kicks? What were your high kicks and low kicks of the year? Let's chit chat back and forth. You know, what do you think about the low kicks, and are you excited for John Jones? Do you care about him anymore? You care about, you know, UFC, the Bellator, Superfights, Cyborg? I mean, is any of this interesting to you guys? What did we miss? Like, we definitely love the conversation in the on YouTube. Any of our stuff, Kick and Makeup Facebook page, Twitter at Kick and Makeup is the shows. I know you keep on Twitter. I'm trying to get on there too a little bit more lately. Hybrid MMA is mine. I mean, you know, let us know what was the biggest things for you this year. What are you looking forward to? And man, that's excited, man. I'm excited for this year,
man. And it's such a drastic difference from where we were last year, and doing this exact show, this exact time, and not really knowing where the direction of the UFC was going to go. And I remember even seeing a lot of the scheduling early on, and I'm like, I don't really know. Like, but the way it turned out for them, and I hate to say it, but I kind of wonder if it was a little fluky, you know? Was this just that year where the bad stuff happened, but you had so many good things that they just overwhelmed it all? Or
it may have been, and that's what reminds me of like 2013 or 2012. It was the year of the injuries. Remember that? Yeah. Like everybody was getting injured. Everybody, every card, and it was leaving with terrible cards and terrible matchmaking and rearranging, and they canceled the fight. Like, I mean, they canceled the first event ever.
Yep.
So yeah, maybe this was just a rebuilding year, and they come back strong. Everybody's got to have one of those. Honestly, I wanted to finish and say thank you to everybody that watches this. Everybody that's been, you know, this is unofficially episode 30. I mean, this is episode 30-ish, but I mean, you guys, you know, I really appreciate, you know, JD and I really appreciate all your guys' support, the likes, the comments, the shares. Obviously, you know, it's very cliche, but we really do this for you guys. We love the sport. We love talking about it. And for you guys to come every episode and listen to us rant and rave in 45 minutes, thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. And we're going to keep on growing and doing big things for you guys
for sure.
in 2016. So
for sure. And if you enjoy what we do, continue to let us know. Like we've heard a lot of comments and a lot of feedback. So we definitely appreciate all that, and definitely want to thank you guys for rocking with us. And we got some big stuff for this year.
We do, man.
Big stuff.
Gotta thank Analog Arcade Bar for letting us come make this our home. Our new home, like I said, 302 Brady Street, downtown Davenport. If you're local, get down here. It's right on the bottom of Brady. If you're not, make a trip to the Quad Cities.
Yes.
Take a day trip and get over here and check this place out.
Come hang out with us right back there.
Remember that? Right here. There's a whole table with all kinds of stuff, man. You know, that's a goal too. We want to get some people down here for these shows. So, you know, make sure to check that out. Thank you, you know, to our sponsor, Neon Energy Drink. GlowEnergy.neonenergyclub.com is the website. Check them out. I feel like I've got a little bit more energetic during the show.
Oh, for real?
Really though. Like
it's legit.
Yeah, like
it is
I'm
legit.
Not
it's not
either.
No.
Like, I feel like
it's legit.
It kind of woke me up a little bit.
Yep.
So that's what it's supposed to do.
Yep.
And it tastes like juice. Which once again, I'm just gonna have this one, but I could definitely have 6 more. But so I think that's it, man. That's it's gonna be a good year.
Yeah.
A good year.
I agree, man. Big year, 2016. It's our year. Damn it. I don't know why I had to curse.
I don't know what I was just gonna do. I was gonna punch this, but then I stopped because your face was there too. That's how we end the show. You lean in to say something, and I just punch.
Just hit me. Just hit me.
That's what they say when we're done. We like your guys' show, but you guys literally can't fight each other at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Anyway, www.kickandmakeup is the website. Kick and Makeup Facebook page, at Kick and Makeup. On Twitter is the show, at Hybrid MMA is mine. Instagram, YouTube, Kick and Makeup. American Hybrid, Nick Cunningham. Jeremy, JD, Dorsey. Remember, don't solve it in the streets. Take it to the cage and Kick and Makeup.
I saw a forearm this week. Forearm.
It's still itching my nose. I'm itching my nose while fighting.